Hi there, everyone. I wanted to record a little bit of a video for my Neurosparkly friends who know that having the right tools is better than therapy and better than medication. To give you guys like the wrap up, my favorite tools for 2025 and how I use them as a neurodivergent founder with 5 kids to keep myself organized and sane. And I'm doing it from outside because what better way than to fuse the joy of working from anywhere with the opportunity to share some really awesome insights in terms of tools. The things I'm going to share with you today are all about boosting your productivity and helping you get self organized, but in a way that doesn't overwhelm you, that actually empowers your beautiful, magical, sparkly brain. And I'm not going to go backwards because I want to go this way. I'm actually going to start with um, let's see, we'll put me there. I'm going to start with my absolute favorite tool from 2025, which is Notion. And those who've worked with me in the past know that this is kind of funny because I was a really big fan of Asana and then I was a big fan of ClickUp, and then I got deep into the Basecamp world, but nothing, and I am saying nothing, is better, in my opinion, than Notion. I've used Trello, I've used all sorts of project management tools in big businesses, in big complex businesses, and I have never found anything like this. So just the way that it can hold so much complexity. And now with its integrated AI, you will actually find this is just going to, I think, continue to be one of the most extraordinary tools. And it's just worth doubling down on. You can actually choose which AI tool you use. We've got Gemini Pro, GPT-5, there's Claude Sonnet in there. Or you could just set up an auto there, and actually with its little personality you can personalize it, so you can actually set up some instructions and genuinely make this your AI assistant. It can be an integrated assistant when you set this up properly, and honestly it can absolutely blow your mind. So for me, I took time over the last year to really set up the ecosystem. I believe in ecosystems, not funnels. I believe that human behavior is going to continue to evolve, and that ultimately, as people become more awake and aware, they realize that they have agency and freedom and choice. And so, being stuffed down a funnel isn't going to work for people. So, this is just how a futurist organizes her workstation, and you're welcome to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But the first thing that I did was I actually watched Tierra Del Forte, I think his name is, his para method for defining a second brain. And I quite liked to begin with the idea of the projects, the areas, the resources, and the archive. And to this day, my projects are all basically set up um, in one particular space. And as a sort of solopreneur slash consultant, being able to at a glance see what projects I've got on my dashboard and when they're due, etc., I find super useful. But I've experimented as well. I've also experimented with my mastermind to create an area over here where people can get all of the resources, all of the custom GPTs that I've created for my clients, and just really taking the time to kind of like link everything in. This for me is about creating a Westfield shopping centre that has beautifully organised stores that you can easily navigate as a result of plugging in all of the things. Probably the most useful thing I could ever show you would be just down here in the settings, one nice little opportunity for you to connect in your other tools. So some of the connections that have completely blown my mind have been Fireflies. So not only is this like literally operating like a second brain slash assistant, it's taking notes in my meetings. I'm able to reference those notes. I'm able to ask questions. I'm able to say things like, a few weeks ago, I had a meeting with this client and we were talking about a go live plan. Help me find the meeting and help me find the actions and help me add them to my to-do list. Like, it's absolutely extraordinary. And a couple of really exciting recent additions include Go High Level, where you can actually view, insert, update your leads. Slack, both collaboration, your Google Drive, which I've often said my Google Drive is worth millions of dollars because it's got all of my previous consulting work on it. So that literally was my original second brain. The fact that I can now question it, query it, and actually co-create with all of these different resources has just been absolutely mind-boggling. Figma, and then others. So look, every day I've noticed that there is new little things being added in. And so we're moving beyond kind of just a search function toward that idea of the agentic AI. And with that ability to personalize your Notion AI, you are genuinely in the zone of being able to co-create and actually get amazing work done. At the very least, it will absolutely enhance and empower and amplify the work that you're doing. And at the most, as it gets smarter and you can actually get it to do things, this is just going to be unbelievably powerful. So very, very, very excited about this. I'm just going to show you just a quick example of, how useful this can be. What can I brighten up for you today? Well, you could tell me, what do I need to focus on this week? That is one of the things that I used to ask my EA when I worked in corporate. What are my core focus areas this week? And it's so nice to be able to get this. And because it is, searching across my calendar, my inbox, my drive, all of the conversations that I've had, as well as the way that I've self-organized, it can then do some thinking and provide me with the kind of key pieces. So yeah, immediate, critical. I've got some events happening this week. The She Evolves Accelerator launch, and then client priorities there. So, I mean, for me, that's just phenomenal, and that's within 95% accuracy. Whereas if you're just working with a GPT, you are having to kind of plug those gaps or having to do the kind of capture first before you can actually ask that question. My next favorite tool of 2025 would have to be Canva. I've been using Canva for, I want to say, 13 years, maybe 14 years. Very early adopter over here. We brought Guy Kawasaki out to speak at an event, and he gave us not only some vouchers, he took me into the Canva offices and introduced me to Melanie Perkins when it was just in startup phase. And so I've been a secret fan and been using it ever since. And, we just do so much design work in there. And I know that there are like some designers who just think Canva is like the poor man's design tool. But honestly, Canva and Canva's AI and its templates have just gone from strength to strength. And I just love how you can now integrate that with things like Notion and ChatGPT. And I think that those who master the art of setting up brand templates and speaking to Canva and giving it feedback, giving it design feedback like a really great designer, you will actually find that really sets you apart. So the thing that I would spend time with in my business, if I haven't already, and this is one of the things that I do with my clients, is making sure that you've got really dialed in logos, colors, fonts, brand voice, photos, graphics, icons, charts, and the do's and don'ts for your brand. Because if you have all of that, that is basically like having a really strong SOP or onboarding kit for a young designer. Think of the AI like young designers. As the AI continues to grow up, you are going to be able to direct it or wonder conduct with it so much better, which I just think is absolutely fantastic. The next favorite tool for me of 2025 is Go High Level. And the thing that I didn't like about Go High Level when we first moved across actually was the UI, in particular in the web. I did previously have webs hosted on Webflow, on Wix, on WordPress, hosted on all of those. And of course, like the design on those is super slick and super beautiful. A couple of things, they do have a WordPress plugin now, which I think is really, really useful. But this we've been able to build just even on the standard kind of site. And I've just really appreciated how much easier it is getting. Every month again, you've got new little widgets and things look new. These little new buttons are literally like updating by the day. So the ability to put forms and surveys in, QR codes, pricing tables, navigation menus, like there just seems to be an update happening, on a really regular basis. And what I love about this, of course, is that it is integrated with your CRM. So as people engage with your website, you are able to capture information about them. And for those of you who haven't figured out Facebook ads and pixels, yes, this has been just phenomenal. That's one thing I've never been able to figure out. I always work with experts for that sort of thing, but just to be able to capture leads as they engage with our content now and our database. We did a big database cleanup at the beginning of the year. We went kind of back to basics. We hired someone to help us kind of segment our database and kind of weed out anyone who wasn't real or do not disturb or that sort of thing. So we went all the way down to like 2,000 customers, and we've built that back up to like 6,800 customers. And I'm really happy with how Go High Level has flexed as we've grown. I do all of my invoicing through Go High Level, and there's a whole heap of other stuff. It's basically like a little business in a box, and I really really love that. You've got your payments here. You've got your social media. I really really love that you can do your EDMs and your social media through here. And the fact that we can do our planning across all of our accounts is just really really useful. There are still a few little kind of like things that aren't perfect, but the ability to manage everything from one link and to go in and to manage, customers, invoices, EDMs, social media posts, website. I'm loading up content into a media library that can be deployed not just across website, but also across EDMs and social media. That's definitely helped us from a design perspective to make sure that things are nice and consistent. And with an ecosystem like ours, where we do have multiple brands, that's again been super, super useful. I've really loved that. And you can actually set this up as an agency, so you can actually then deploy this to other clients. And that's just been absolutely delightful. So I've really, really loved that. I still love Claude AI. I think that it's got a lovely, I just use the free plan, but I think it's got a lovely kind of energy to it. The other ones that I just use a free plan for Perplexity. Really, really love the research functionality with Perplexity. I find that this is a very, very accurate portal for getting research and for getting like references and things like that. And then the other one, which, love it or hate it, is Grok. I actually have the paid version of Grok because I found that again, Grok for research is phenomenal, especially that paid version. And I've just like really, really enjoyed kind of jumping in there because it does do such a good job of being able to then provide the references, which particularly if you're in like a design process and you're doing that discovery kind of artifact discovery stuff, and I just find that absolutely incredible, and I'm really loving that, which is fun. Other tools that kind of blew my mind this year include Napkin.ai. Napkin.ai is really fantastic for visual storytelling, and I've used this a number of times, especially if I'm kind of working on a pitch deck and I'm trying to illustrate something. I'm trying to think of how to like explain something visually. I've just found this really useful, like to be able to pop information in here and for it to then kind of create these pictures. You've often seen, in coaching or in training, people use Venn diagrams or they use different kind of visual methods to help people, understand things. And the fact that you can create your own custom visuals in this is just freaking blow my mind. I absolutely love it. And I find that really, really incredible. And then the other one that's really blown my mind is Gamma. I've used this on repeat. I just absolutely love how you can work in one of these other tools. And I follow a typical kind of discover, define, develop, deliver kind of cycle when I'm using these tools. I may do my discovery in Grok or Perplexity and then take that across to Claude or GPT to kind of refine and define and get into a space where I'm like figuring out what it is that I want to say. Then I'll take that into a Word document. I'll really finesse that in like a Google Word doc and get to a point where I'm really happy with the wording of it. And then I might take it back to one of those GPTs. This is what I call tool surfing. And I'll like get it actually to outline a Gamma presentation. And a couple of things that I've had a lot of fun with this year have been bringing a Firefly, so an AI related kind of recording tool, into a workshop or into a keynote, actually getting that to create a little bit of a playback for people. I was just seeing if I could find that here. This is just a different presentation that I'd put together. And then I usually download the Gamma and actually then take it across to Canva, because what I find really, really, really valuable is being able to get this and get the like layout. Just like I use this like as a wireframing, as a prototyping tool. I just find it like unbelievably powerful. So I was just seeing if I could find a playback that we did. with one of my presentations. I can't find it right now, but damn, it was so cool. It was just so great to be able to like do the workshop and then do a little bit of a playback and really, this might be it here. But it's not. I'll jump onto the next thing. But like I said, the way that I usually work is that I'll create something like this, which gives me a really nice layout. I'll then go to share it. I will decide to export it to PowerPoint or PDF. And once you've exported that, you can then upload that into Canva and you can make sure that this is a super on brand, really beautiful presentation. And I was really happy because I was presenting at a conference last week, actually, or a couple of weeks ago in Bali, and everyone was commenting on my slides. And it was so nice, like just to know that I'd done the Gamma thing and I pulled it across to Canva and I'd applied my brand kit and I'd, you know, confidently gone on stage using slides that were then super on brand. So this is just me just showing you very quickly how I would download that from Gamma, pull that across into Canva, and now I've got that wireframe that I can just work on and just make sure that it's pixel perfect after I've kind of done that tool surfing and pulled that through there. So I love those. Another one that I really enjoyed playing with this year has been Lovable. I know that there are a lot, and everyday Replit is very cool as well. There's just some really, really, really phenomenal tools out there to build apps. And I wanted to prototype again an app that I had sort of an idea for. I'd been researching for a couple of years. You know, when I actually started to work on the wireframes, I realized that it was going to be a pretty big build, but I wanted something that would at least demonstrate the concept so that I could take people on the journey. And instead of just wireframing it out in like a Figma, which is another one of my favorite tools, I was like, well, maybe I could actually build like a working prototype beta. And this absolutely blew my mind. I think I cried. I was just like so unbelievably blown away by how like amazing it was. It just, yeah, kind of blew my mind. So I'll just quickly show you one of the lovables that I've created there. I've got the Neurosparkly kind of app. And you basically work with that like you would work with a developer. Like in the past, when I've worked with developers, I would put together documentation and then, chat to them back and forth on what needed to change. And you can just see here on the left side all the changes that we've kind of created there. And I think what I've really liked is I created some inclusive design principles and I uploaded them and it was able to follow them quite nicely. So I think that that's really super, super valuable. I'll just give you guys a quick look at this. And like it's a super great working prototype. I think it lets you take the free quiz. I don't think I've got payments enabled, but you can go in here and actually take the quiz and, it followed the design guardrails that I put in place. And I've been able to take about 300 people through the prototype, which, in the past, like that would have been a really heavy lift. That would have been something that I would have needed an entire research team and a design team to help me with. And I've been able to do that in 3 months. So I think that's really super, super interesting. Of course, then the embedded AI or the human in the loop AI that kind of exists, we quite liked to begin with, I won't lie. I don't know, I'm still figuring it out, but like the Fixer. So Fixer is an AI that's embedded in my inbox and it will draft a response for me. And then I can read that. And the thing about it is because it's in my inbox, it learns your language really quickly. So it actually always says what I would say, which kind of freaks me out, but I also really love it. So yeah, I think that that's super, super fun and interesting as well. And then probably, goodness, I'm sort of at the end of my absolute favorite tools now. Oh, there's a couple on my phone which I absolutely love, especially for content creation. CapCut. I spent the $90 at the beginning of the year deciding to get that, and I get comments on my social media all the time about how beautiful my videos and stuff are. So I absolutely love that. And then another one which has been quite cool is Opus. Opus Clip. I think there's another one that's called like Decorder or something. Don't use that one as much. Not Discord. There's this Opus Descript. Descript, there you go, lol. um, so Opus Clip and Descript, lol. You can decide They can both help you make tips, as you can see. And I've used both of those, and I think experimenting with those is really cool. With these Black Friday deals, it's definitely worth kind of checking that out and seeing what it has to offer. Um, so yeah, like that is for me. I'm going to just stop sharing now. That is just like a whistle stop tour of the um, tools that have just honestly not just enabled my business, but like brought me joy. Like I've just really enjoyed working with these tools. I find them frictionless and fun. I found those different ways of tool surfing and replacing, I used to run a design practice with 70 people. And if we were running a project, we'd be building big, big teams of brilliant, brilliant people. And I haven't had the luxury of, access to those sorts of resources being out by myself. So to be able to like run as fast as I've run with these tools has just been, like I said, so delightful. And I'm so excited about 2026 because I think that we'll just continue to evolve and play. And I'll keep you guys up to date. I'm probably going to have to start to do a quarterly one of these because the tools are just getting better and better month by month, which I find absolutely phenomenal. The last one, which I didn't kind of deep dive into, is of course like my bestie ChatGPT, and ChatGPT and I have gone deep. I use the folder structures, these really distilled my user manual, how I like to work, and I've created a whole heap of custom GPTs that are programmed in a particular way. And the coolest thing is, regardless of the upgrades, these custom GPTs maintain their like personality, which I think is so cool because a lot of people get really upset when the personality changes with the upgrades. It also is influenced by how many users are using it because, of course, it's like garbage in, garbage out. If we've got a whole heap of new users asking like basic, better questions, then that's going to change the way that it kind of engages. But really taking the time to distill your user manual, your language model, how you like to kind of communicate, I think is one of the greatest things that you can do, which I mentioned earlier, just in terms of like distilling design principles. And that's not just for business, that's also for personal. Like take the time to distill your personal brand and understand yourself, and you are going to have such a better time using AI. Let me know what you thought. Comment, like, subscribe, do all the things, and I look forward to sharing another one of these soon. Take care. Bye.